Hi, this is Janelle Nanos, business reporter with the Boston Globe, and this is Bold Types, Conversations with Boston's Business Leaders. Today we're talking with Vikki Spruill, President and CEO of the New England Aquarium. It's a summer morning.
Yeah.
Things are just getting heated up here in the aquarium in terms of the number of kids who have shown up on their school trips or camp outings. Talk to me a little bit about visitation. You had 1.4 million visitors last year.
We are so excited about that.
That's more than any other.
It's more than any other cultural institution in Boston. So I think that says we're doing something right, and you can just hear the enthusiasm and the excitement of these kids when they're lining up and coming in. And the first thing they see here is this penguin exhibit.
We are inside on the top of the giant ocean tank. This is probably the centerpiece of the whole museum. I mean, this is where everything starts. What this space means to a visitor and to you.
This was the largest single tank in the world when it was built. As you walk up, you get to experience the hundreds of animals that are in this beautiful exhibit through these small windows that punctuate your walk up. Without a doubt, the sort of star of the show is Myrtle the turtle, who's 90 years old and has been here almost since we opened our doors. So we have a lot of diversity here in this exhibit that helps people learn about how we're truly an ecosystem. I mean, we're all trying to get along. Some people often say, what's your favorite animal in the New England Aquarium? And I actually say, I love this giant ocean tank experience because I wish we as a species could sort of get along with all of our differences and coexist in a similar way.
When you have an outside space, you're obviously also opening yourself up to the very effects of climate change that you are trying to defeat here in the space by educating people. You were flooded for 4 days and you lost $1 million in revenue. Talk with me a little bit about how the new design of the new building and what your plans are for that space will be able to be adaptive to rising waters and to climate change and other things along those lines.
So we are a major urban waterfront city, and yet there are so few places where the residents of Boston can actually interact directly with the water. And as the New England Aquarium, there's never been a time where our mission and these issues more tightly connect. Our vision is to connect the Rose Kennedy Greenway in something we're calling the Blue Way to Boston Harbor, so that our physical space actually becomes kind of a manifestation of our conservation message, that we will utilize architecture that opens this up to much more light, much more water facing. The wall that would have had the best views of the harbor is actually blocked off because when it was built, nobody wanted to see the harbor. It was polluted. We've spent $23 billion on the harbor cleanup and on the completion of the Greenway. So let's complete that vision and actually bring people here and help them understand what's happening with rising and warming seas.
Protecting the planet is obviously such a big part of the mission here. It has to be daunting too. I mean, you know, one of the things that you obviously have worked your whole career on is building messaging that inspires people, illuminates big issues. How do you make sure that when you're in an environment that is a tourist attraction, that has children, that you can both hit those notes that are really important, but also don't leave people feeling completely just overwhelmed and sad at the enormity of the issue?
Yeah, so I am an eternal optimist and a glass half full person, and I think you have to be to work on some of these issues. I mean, it is overwhelming when you look at these challenges in totality. I think it's why I constantly go back to the individual. I've never had the ability to touch 1.5 million people every year through the kinds of experiences we just walked through together and saw. It's really one person at a time in terms of informing and inspiring. And then I think we have to give people simple things that they can do, which on the surface may not seem like they're actually solving the problem, but things like not using a single-use plastic straw is an action you can take to feel empowered, and it becomes then an opportunity to educate that person about why that matters and why that straw is a problem. It's not about the action, it's about what the action invites.
One of the things that I know has sparked a lot of people in terms of advocacy and thinking along, what we're doing for the future is things like the Green New Deal. And I've heard that your position is that green is fine, but maybe there should be a little bit of blue as part of that Green New Deal too. Talk with me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the Green New Deal is really about social justice and how climate change is going to impact more vulnerable communities first. And we support the Green New Deal and all that it stands for. Ocean is mentioned once in the Green New Deal. And so we have to pause and think about that, because it assumes a healthy and vibrant ocean. Well, all of that carbon that we're putting up into the atmosphere is ending up in the ocean, and the ocean has its limits too. So the Green New Deal needs to incorporate all those things that we need to be doing to make sure that our ocean continues to be healthy and thrives so that it can continue to protect our planet.
We call this series Bold Types, and so I always like to ask everyone if they could share a moment from their career that they felt that they've had to take a bold step or make a bold decision.
I feel like I've had to make so many bold decisions. It is not easy being a communicator and translator in a field that is predominantly occupied by technical experts and scientists who go very narrow and deep on subject matter. And it takes both actually to be able to make these issues relevant to the public. So I have had to stand up to very well-known scientists and say, so do you think the public understands anything about what you just said? And it's really hard to do that because these are very influential and important people. Anniversaries are a wonderful time to reflect on your past, but to me, it's more important to be thinking about the future.
So what does the future look like here in Boston?
So I see a thriving, vibrant, climate resilient waterfront where there's cooperation and collaboration with the city, with the state, with the federal government to really protect our coastline and our shoreline so that the business, the industry, the innovation that's happening in this city can continue to prosper.